This book is so awesome. I can do anything. This book is so awesome. I am a potions king.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday. Today is March 2nd, and as you can see on the board behind me, today we're going to focus on our Chapter 1 writing. Today we're going to be doing a written response quiz, and I'm going to introduce you to something called the 60-second summary challenge. Now, for people that are watching the video, this is an example of something where if all you're watching is the videos and submitting your work, and you're not joining the live stream, it will be nearly impossible for you to participate in the 60-second summary challenge. This is a fun game that we play in class, and you either need to join us virtually or be in person in order to play. You'll still have to write a summary whether you're watching the videos or joining the virtual class. But if you join the virtual class, you get to participate in a group, and you also get to participate in a fun contest to see who can write the best summary and earn some points for their house. So, today is a writing day, and let's jump right in. You can see the do now asks you to write your homework in your agenda. On your writing days, you're always going to have two homework assignments. One is going to be to finish your chapter quiz. Today, you guys are going to be doing the Chapter 1 quiz. And then the second part of the assignment is always going to have to do something with your summary. Today, and for the most of the time that we're practicing, you guys are just going to have to upload a picture of your notebook page where you practiced writing your summary. But after Chapters 5, after Chapter 10, and after Chapter 15, the summary that you're going to do is an independent summary that you're going to hand in as a quiz grade, and you'll do that through Google Classroom. So you will always, though, have a quiz assignment, and you'll have a summary assignment on the writing days. Let's scroll on down here through our table of contents. You can see that today, we are going to be adding one page into our notebook. We're going to be adding that Chapter 1 summary, and that's going to go on page 44. But first, let's talk about the quiz. Now, this unit is all about providing teacher support to the students as they go through their writing activities. So today, I'm not just going to give you the directions to the quiz and have you go over and try to take the quiz. Today, we're going to look at the directions, we're going to look at the questions, we're going to look at how to set up our answers, and I'm even going to go over the answers today. So if you stick with me today, you follow along with what I do, you hand in your work at the end of it, you should end up with 100 as a quiz grade for Chapter 1. Because today is all about modeling. How do we think about these questions? How do we write written responses to these questions? So let's jump in. Here are the directions. It says to read each question and answer in a complete sentence. You must answer in a complete sentence, which includes using proper nouns and words from the question. If you do not answer in a complete sentence, you will not be able to earn full credit. 6th grade standards require you to write in a fully developed complete sentences, and that will be the expectation for all of your quizzes, whether it's your writing of your summary or your written response answers. And for this reason, we will be taking the time, especially during the first few quizzes, learning exactly how we should respond to these types of questions. For the quiz, you must go to the Google Classroom. So now follow me over here. Here I went to the Google Classroom. Here is the stream. And the stream, you guys can still always go here for the links to the lessons. You'll see the link to the blog and the link to the video for each lesson. But we know that we click on the classwork tab, and under the Unit 3 assignments, you guys don't see a lot of these assignments because these are scheduled assignments to open up later. Even now, as I'm filming this before this assignment is available to you, but I'm going to take you through it here. You're going to look for the Chapter 1 quiz. All right, it's right here, Chapter 1 quiz, the worst birthday. You're going to click on it, read the directions. It says read each question and answer in a complete sentence. You must answer in a complete sentence, which includes using proper nouns and words from the question. If you do not answer in a complete sentence, you will not be able to earn full credit. 6th grade standards require you to write in fully developed complete sentences, and that will be the expectation on all quizzes. Again, word for word, what was on the blog. So, let's jump in and let's look at the quiz. So this is our quiz on Chapter 1. And I'm going to blow it up as big as I can behind me. And this is something I'm just going to point out has been an observation throughout this year. Guys, on most of the quizzes, I ask for you to write your name. So many students are leaving that blank, or they are writing their name, but they're doing it with lowercase letters. The very first thing I think we all learn in school is how do we write our name with capitals. Right? So you guys, when you are here on this question, okay, I don't want to see this. Okay, I see so much of this. That's my name, but it is written with lowercase letters. The other thing I see is this. Just the first name. All right? You need to be sure you're writing your full name with a capital on the first name, a space in between, and a capital on your second name. Okay, and these are your names, so they should be spelled correctly. I see many students that write down their name and they don't even bother to check to see that they've spelled their own name correctly. So that's the first thing that you need to do. And again, you can see on this quiz alone, I made it worth a point. Because this is how much this means to me, that so many students are still not even bothering to put their names on their quiz. That I'm giving you credit for writing your name. Alright, so first thing that we need to do when we have any kind of written response question, we begin by reading the question. We need to read the question and understand the question. The other thing that I have is I have my notes out from Chapter 1. These are all questions about Chapter 1. So I have my notes and I have my book, and they're right here, ready to reference, because I'm not going to guess at a single answer. I'm either going to know the answer up here because I remember it from the reading, or I'm going to know the answer because I've gone into the book. And the best thing to do is know the answer up here and confirm the answer is correct in the book. Nobody, okay, who takes the time on this should be getting these wrongs, because you have access to the book and you have access to your notes when you're going to write these questions. I'm not asking you to answer these quiz questions without having those materials. So let's look at the first question. What is the setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets? Now, on this one, I wrote a little remember. Remember that setting includes both time and place, or when and where. First thing that I'm going to do before I even try to think about what the answer is, I'm going to be asking you the question, how do we even begin the answer? All right? How do we even begin the answer? So many students, let me show you before I tell you how we begin. This is what students will do. They'll say, at Harry's house in the morning. Okay? Guarantee you I get an answer like this. The setting of Chapter 1, we all know he is at Harry's house, wherever Harry lives, and it is in the morning. So this person is absolutely correct. However, this is not a complete sentence. It does not include capitals. It does not include punctuation. And in the morning, while it is a correct answer, it's still not right. Let me explain. With the setting, we know it's always a when and a where. And with both of those, we want to know the when that's important and also the where that's important. All right? When and where. Okay, and yes, it is in the morning, but that's not important. When is it? It's in the summertime. All right? That's what's important. Our story begins in the summertime. It's not important that this events that happened in Chapter 1 happened in the morning. They could have happened at noon. In fact, we actually know that they happened throughout that entire day. When are we? Okay? We're in the summertime. Where are we? We're at Harry's house where he lives with the Dursleys. All right? So, let's look at how we would actually begin our answer. We would use questions we would use words from the question. The question says, what is the setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets? You should begin with a capital. We would begin with the setting. Now, I wouldn't stop here. I wouldn't just say the setting is at Harry's house during the summertime. The setting for what? Look at the question. The setting for Chapter 1. The setting for Chapter 1. I wouldn't stop there. Chapter 1 of what? Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I should be able to know exactly what the question is asking without ever having to read the question. Your answer should be able to stand on its own. If you came up and just said, the setting of Chapter 1 is at Harry's house in the summertime, I wouldn't know what book you're talking about. But if you came up and said to me, the setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is at Harry's house in the summertime, now I don't need the question anymore. You've answered everything. I don't have any other questions. I don't have to ask you which book are you talking about. You've included it in your response. And that's what we mean by fully developed answers. You're not just going to say the setting is. You're not just going to say the setting for Chapter 1 is. The setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now, I have a spelling error. I can go back and fix it right now. You need to make sure that everything is spelled correctly. All of the words are in your book. They're in your notes. Careless spelling errors, because we just want to get it done, they're unacceptable here. If it's not spelled right, it is incorrect. You need to be taking the time to spell these words correctly. This is language arts. All right? So the setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is. You also make sure that you're using your proper capitals. The chamber and secrets and Harry and Potter, these are words that all need capitals. These are proper nouns, so they need capitals. None of the other words need capitals. Also, all words are spelled out. We don't use the number 1 for the word 1. We write the word out. Everything as in your answer should be written just like this here. The setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is. And now your answers might vary from mine, but we need to include a time and a place, a when and a where. Okay, so when are we and where are we? I'm going to begin with the where. Okay, is at Harry's aunt and uncle's house. Nope, I don't even like that. I'm going to go back and change it. Because I'm not mentioning that this is where Harry lives. Is at Harry's aunt and uncle's house where he lives. Okay, that's the first part. The setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is at Harry's aunt and uncle's house where he lives. Alright, now again, if I don't like it, I could change this around. Oops, not like that. I could take where he lives, cut it out of that, and paste it in here. And now I've changed my sentence structure around, but it still works. The setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is where he lives at his aunt and uncle's house. Now, again, I've got a capital A on aunt here, so I either need to use her full name, Aunt Petunia, or I would need to use a lowercase a. And I'm going to go ahead and at his Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon's house. And I will end with a period. A period follows, it comes right after that word. So here's the answer for the first part. The setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is where he lives at his Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon's house. Now again, I'm still not a big fan of the wording of that, but we'll go with that for now. But this is only half the answer. We also need to know the when. When is it? It is summertime after Harry's first year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Okay, so this here is an example of how you guys need to answer this question. Again, you see, the most important part is I've used words from the question. The setting for Chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is where he lives with his Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon's house. It is the summertime after Harry's first year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Again, notice I didn't say it is summertime after Harry's first year. Alright, I should be able to make sense of your answer without ever needing to even read the question. Again, I'm not a big fan of the way I worded my answer, but it works, so we'll go with it. Alright, let's go on to number 2. So at this point, everybody should have the answer for number 1 down. Okay, we're using all capital letters where we need them. Okay, Harry's name here has to be capital. Hogwarts School, Witchcraft, and Wizardry all need to be capital because they are important words in a proper noun. Question 2 asks, who does Harry live with, and how do they feel about magic? So we have to ask, how would we begin this answer, and how many questions do we have? And here, we really have 2 questions. The first question is, who does Harry live with? We have to answer that question. And how do they feel about magic? We also have to answer that second question. So first, how would we begin? We're going to take words right out of the question. We're going to go right here. Harry lives with, and we're going to use those 3 words to start our answer. Harry, nope, no capital, lives with. Now, we're going to be as specific as we can. We're not just going to say his aunt and his uncle and his cousin. We're going to make sure that we use their full names. And I have it right in my notes, okay? His Aunt Petunia, his Uncle Vernon, and his cousin Dudley. Aunt Petunia, and A and P both need a capital. And you guys should know we use a comma. I'm making a list of names. So a comma goes right after the word Aunt Petunia. Capital, Uncle Vernon, capital on both of those, comma, and a space comes after your comma. Uncle Vernon. And cousin doesn't need to have a capital on it. It's not part of the name. We're just using it as an adjective to describe who Dudley is. Dudley is his cousin, Dudley. Harry lives with his Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, and cousin Dudley. Again, notice my punctuation and where the capitals are, and where the words are that are not capitalized. The second part of this question asks, how do they feel about magic? Again, we have to answer this. Now, again, do I have to use all of their names? I've already used all of their names. Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, cousin Dudley. So I can begin this next sentence with simply by using the word they. Now, how would we do this? How do they feel about magic? Would we say they feel about magic? No. What would we do is we would simply put in the feeling word in between they and about magic. So we'd have to go back in. We have to look at our notes. All right, and in my notes right here, I have down that aunt and uncle hate magic. All right, I have that down, that they hate magic. So, and if I didn't, I'd have to go back into my book. I'd have to go back and look in there on pages that are in the chapter and try to find that answer. Again, for time, again, I know the answer, and I've taken good notes, so I happen to know that his aunt and uncle, they hate magic. So, they hate magic. Period. Now, I don't need a capital H on hate. I don't know why I did it. I'm going to go back and fix it. They hate magic. And here it is. I've answered the question. It's only 3 words. All right. If I wanted to, and I wanted to answer it in one sentence, I could simply put a comma, the word and then change that to a they with a lowercase. Harry lives with his Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, and Cousin Dudley, and they hate magic. Now it's written as one sentence. It sounds a little bit better, I think, as one sentence instead of two short, choppy sentences. Okay, so now that we've answered question number 2, we can go on to question number 3. Question 3 says, it is Harry's birthday, but no one is throwing him a party. How does Harry have to spend his birthday? Here we have to begin. How do we begin this sentence? The question is asking us, how does Harry spend his birthday? So I would use words right from the question, and I would begin with Harry spends his birthday. And then I would describe how he spends his birthday. So here, Harry spends his birthday. You could start it that way, or you could do it this way. Harry has to spend his birthday, and then you could finish it this way. Again, it's as long as you're using words from the question, you are using proper nouns. Notice I didn't say he, okay? And again, I'm using words from the question. If you were to, in your answer, simply write this, he has to stay in his room. That's an accurate answer, and it actually has a capital and it has a period. It would also be wrong. Okay? Why is this answer an incorrect answer? 1, I don't know who he is. If I read that sentence, I don't know you're talking about Harry. I know you're talking about he. And has to stay in his room. Okay, when? You haven't signified, you haven't clarified this information. When does he have to stay in his room? Why does he have to stay in his room? All right? And you didn't use any of these words up here to explain that. All right? So what do we need to do is we need to make sure that we're answering in fully developed answers. So it's not he, it is Harry. And when does he do this? On his birthday. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm not just going to say Harry has to stay in his room. On his birthday, Harry has to stay in his room. And now there's a lot more details. He has to stay in his room and pretend that he doesn't exist. He has to act like he is not there. Those are exact words from the text. Harry has to stay in his room and act like he is not there. Okay? When? On his birthday, we know that. What are the Dursleys doing at this time? They're having a dinner party. I'm going to include this information. While the Dursleys are having a dinner party downstairs. I'm going to come back in here, fix my typo. It's the Dursleys. Okay? So now let's look at this answer and look at how it's come together. And we'll have to see if we have to make any corrections or changes. On his birthday, Harry has to stay in his room and act like he is not there, while the Dursleys, I can see a spelling error there in Dursleys, while the Dursleys are having a dinner party downstairs. This is what we mean when we talk about a fully developed answer. Again, I could have just said he has to stay in his room. All right, but again, you would not have fully developed your answer. If I read this answer, I no longer need the question. On his birthday, Harry has to stay in his room and act like he's not there while the Dursleys are having a dinner party downstairs. It's now changed from a question and an answer to me simply stating something I know about Harry and about the book. All right, so you're going to hear it over and over and over again in this unit. Fully developed answers is what we're looking for. Question number 4. How would you feel if you were Harry and you had to live with the Dursleys? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. So this one is a question that you'll notice right now. When it comes to the points, it doesn't have any point value. It needs to be answered All right, but this is a question that is used for discussion purposes. And again, there is no right or wrong way to feel about Harry. This is a question where we cannot find the answer in the book. So far, all of my questions have been level 1 questions. These are questions with really one answer. The answer comes out of the book, question 1, 2, and 3. But question 4 is a level 2 answer. I'm asking you or level 2 question. I'm asking you how you would feel. Okay? So, again, a couple ways that you might start this. You might start this with, I would feel. All right? I think a better way to start this would be, if I was Harry, I would feel. All right? And then we would go on and we could answer it. So if I was Harry, I would feel sad and lonely having to live with the Dursleys. If I was Harry, I would feel sad and lonely having to live with the Dursleys. I could, again, there's no right or wrong answers. I could explain my feelings more, all right? But now it does say use evidence from the text to support your answer. And again, this is where I have to go back into the text and use some reasoning, use some evidence to support why I say that I would be sad and lonely. Okay? And here, I'm going to go back to that previous question. Remember, they basically forgot his birthday. They ignored his birthday. So I might say the Dursleys ignored Harry's birthday and had a dinner party without him. He was forced to be all alone on his birthday without any friends or family to celebrate with. Notice, I'm explaining, I'm taking things specifically out of the book. The Dursleys ignored Harry's birthday. That is a fact from the book. And they had a dinner party without him. That's a fact from the book. Harry was forced to be all alone on his birthday. That's a fact from the book. He had no friends and no family to celebrate with. Again, these are all details from the book. This is my opinion. If I was Harry, I would feel sad and lonely. And you can see the way I'm using my details would describe someone who would be very sad and someone who would be very lonely. You'd be sad if your family ignored your birthday. You'd be, perhaps lonely, but you'd be sad if they were having a dinner party without you on your birthday. You were forced to be all alone. You'd be feeling lonely on your birthday. You have no friends and no family to celebrate with. And right there, so now with that, I have supplied some evidence to support my thinking. If I was Harry, I would feel sad and lonely, having to live with the Dursleys. The Dursleys ignored Harry's birthday and had a dinner party without him. He was forced to be all alone on his birthday without any friends or family to celebrate with. Now, again, I'm not telling you sad and lonely are the right answer. Harry, I would feel mad and angry. If I was Harry, I would feel mad and angry about living with the Dursleys. Again, now, I wouldn't use the same evidence. If I wanted to say that I'd be mad, I'd be angry, or I'd be frustrated, I might use different evidence. For example, when there are chores that need to be done, Dudley gets to go out and play, and Harry is forced to do all the chores. Okay? Right here. Okay? When there are chores that need to be done, Dudley doesn't have to do any chores. He gets to go out and play, and Harry's forced to do all the chores. That would make you mad. That would make you angry. So you see, I picked different evidence from the book to try to support my answer. But again, I'm fully developing my answers. If I was Harry, I would feel. Okay, and again, so many people would do this to answer this question. They would write that. I've seen that this year. Mad. They would answer in one word. This is 0 points. This is 0 credit. This is even worse than 0. This is you reading the question, knowing what the question asks you, and simply ignoring the directions and refusing to write a sentence. So this is you cutting yourself short. It's you not putting in any effort when I see answers like this. All right? So I've showed you the fully developed answer. Now, we're going to be doing this for the people that are in class. We're going to be doing this in class together for the first chapter or so. Definitely for the first chapter with all of the answers, but the second chapter and the third chapter will be looking at exactly how do we begin our answers, how do we frame our answers, and then I will leave it up to you guys to actually write your answers. But we're going to be guiding you through each one about how do you actually fully develop your sentences and fully develop your answers. All right, so at this point, everybody could click submit, and then you guys have your quiz done. Everybody should have 100% on this first quiz. This first quiz, remember, I'm guiding you through and modeling exactly what the expectation is. And once you know the expectation, that's what I'm going to hold you to from here on out. So that's the quiz. The second part of the assignment for today is the 45 or the 60-second summary challenge. And here it is, whereas if you are just watching the videos and you're learning virtually, this is where yours is going to be a little bit different because you're not going to actually be able to participate in the group work. So let me explain to you what the intention is to hopefully motivate you to come join these live streams. And then hopefully we'll start seeing you guys there. And if not, I will give you the expectations for what you need to do to at least complete today's. Okay, so this is the intention. This is, welcome to the 60-second summary challenge. In this challenge, you will have 15 minutes to work in your group to write the best summary that you can in your notebook on page 44. We're going to do this. Each house will then choose a representative to read their summary out loud. The readers have 60 seconds to read their summary. The teachers will act as the impartial judges and award points for the best summaries. As you get better at writing summaries, we will change it from the 60-second summary challenge to the 45-second summary challenge, where you will have just 10 minutes to write and 45 seconds to read your summary. When I asked students last year, you guys could actually go back and watch the video yourself of me asking the students what was their favorite part about Unit 3. The 45-second summary challenge continually came up as being one of the students' favorite things that we did. You're working together as a team, you're supporting each other, but instead of being on a court, it's in a classroom. Instead of being around a basketball, it's around a table. You guys we're going to be doing it safely with masks on and with social distancing, but you guys are going to be working in groups and supporting each other as we go through these summary challenges and as we write the summaries. So you're never going to be on your own trying to write a summary, especially not in the beginning, okay? So this is what happens. You guys, how will I earn points? Points are at the discretion of the judge, but here is an approximation of how points might work out. All right, and when I say the discretion of the judge, each teacher will act as a judge for their own classroom. So each classroom will have a 60-second summary challenge going on inside the room. So there will be one in Mrs. Holmes' room, one in Mrs. Mullins' room, one in my room, and one in Mrs. Faulkner's room. But this is how I've done it in years past. Often first place, I'll give them 30 points. 30 points for the best summary. Second place, 20 points. 20 points for second place. 10 points for third place. And even fourth place is 5 points. So every house usually tends to earn some kind of points for their efforts. But 30 goes usually to the winning house. But again, you might write an amazing summary, and Mrs. Mullen thinks that the winning summary should be worth 40 points or 50 points. The points are at the judge's discretion. We might also have a week where there's only one or two really strong summaries, and so the judge decides to only give out points for first and second. That is okay. But you guys are going to be working together, trying to earn as many points as you can. Okay? And as we get farther into the unit, often the point values will go up, where first place will then become worth maybe up to 50 points or more. Now, your summaries, you're going to regularly write them in your notebook, and I'm going to show you that in a second, as practice, and hand it in as a classwork grade. So you'll just take a picture of your summary and show me that you did it as a classwork grade. However, 3 times throughout the unit, your summaries will be handed in digitally, so we can formally assess your writing. Your summaries for chapters 5, 10, and 15 will be handed in Google Classroom as a quiz grade. There's 18 chapters, so for 15 chapters, you will be doing practice. So you'll be writing these summaries with your friends and with the peers in your house. But there are 3 times where you got to do it independently. Chapter 5, 10, and 15, you guys are going to have to write your own summary and show us what you can do on your own. Okay? But that's why we do a lot of practice. So you're going to basically practice 4 chapters, okay? And then you got to hand in 1 on your own. And then we're going to read 4 more chapters, and then you got to do 1 on your own. So you get to practice 4 times for every 1 time you have to do 1 independently. Okay, so now here are the directions for everybody and how they're going to do these practices, whether you're a virtual student or whether you're in class or a hybrid student. In your notebook, on the page right next to your Chapter 1 notes, you will write a summary of the chapter. You'll use your notes as you work with other people in your house to write your summary. Your summaries should include, and this is basically what is on page 30 in our notebooks. 1, the main idea. Now, in literature, you think mood or think the big idea of the chapter. All right, you think about plot, what part of plot we're in, and you start with your main idea. And again, this is something where your teachers and I are really going to support you and guide you through. As you guys try out different things, we'll be able to steer your thinking in the right direction. Then, you also need the most important details from the chapter. And then the last thing, which is new to us, is your reflection. This is your own thoughts about the events of the chapter. When we learned summaries for informational texts, we left the opinion out. Okay? All we did, main idea, here are the details. All right? But with literature, we want to reflect. As we saw in that video about the hero's journey, everybody is the hero of their own journey. We can reflect on every character and what they're going through and apply it to our own lives and what we're going through. And so this is what we really mean about reflecting, looking at this book and seeing how this book reflects back things that can apply to our own lives, all right? Our own thoughts, our own opinions about the situations our characters are finding themselves in or connections we're making to these characters, all right? So it's going to include a reflection. This is where you get to include your opinion. Now, for the 60-second summary challenge, each group will then choose 1 person to read their summaries out loud for the 60-second summary challenge. So there will be 1 from each house. Slytherin will have a representative, Hufflepuff, Gryffindor, and Ravenclaw. Each house gets 1 representative in every classroom. So this is going on in each classroom. And they will get up and they will have to read their summary out loud. The winning house will receive points for their house, and each person must write a complete summary and upload a picture of their work, regardless of whether or not they're the representative. Okay, so every single chapter, everyone is writing a summary. But each house in each classroom picks just 1 representative to read theirs out loud to the group and compete in the challenge for points. All right? Now, make sure that when you guys are uploading your pictures of these practice pages, you are uploading a clear picture and you are using neat writing. That's another thing that is going to be a focus on, writing neatly. I'm going to now show you my summary following these guidelines: main idea, details, and reflection. So I'm going to turn over to my document camera. Here is my Chapter 1 notes. All right, and you can see I use Cornell notes. Everybody is using Cornell notes. So I came in with lots of details, and I already came in with a brief summary written. All right, So here's my brief summary. I wrote down that it's summertime after Harry's first year at Hogwarts, and he's living with his Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, and Cousin Dudley, because his parents are dead. It's Harry's 12th birthday, and the Dursleys have a dinner party, but they make Harry spend it alone in his bedroom. When Harry goes in his room, someone is there on his bed. Alright, so this is the summary I already wrote on my own in my Cornell notes. So I've already got a bit of a foundation for when I go work with a group of students and we have to write a larger, more fully developed summary with an intro sentence and a reflection sentence. Alright, so I'm already prepared. Now, as we go from note-taking and we go into writing our summaries, one of the things that was in our notes was this essential question: can you describe the exposition of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets? Refer to page 18 for exposition. So, if you remember our plot, exposition, this introduces the main characters, the protagonists, the setting, and the basic situations. So when I'm asking, can you describe the exposition? Okay, in chapter 1 of every book, you're going to get introduced to the setting, the characters, and the basic situations. So it's our job as readers to be able to describe this part, right? And so that's why our essential question focuses on that. And in our summary, that's why we're going to focus on who are the characters we've met, what's the setting of the chapter, and what's the basic situations for our main character. What's the basic situation that he finds himself in? So, I'm going to blow this up, make it big for you guys. And again, with this first one, you guys can go right with me and make yours look just like mine. Alright, so at the top, I need to add one thing. And that is the date. Because I already have my title. You should all write your title down. This is the Chapter 1 summary. And you can see it's right next to my Chapter 1 notes. So these are side by side. Alright. Chapter 1 summary. And also, this is page 44. It is page 44. And I'm going to go back to the blog so I can make sure I got the right date. Today is March 2nd. So in my notes, I'm going to make sure that I put that down. Remember, it goes on every single page. Date, title, and page number. Now, there's no right or there's no one right way to write an intro sentence. All right. So there's a lot of ways, and so as I show you some of my chapter summaries and I show you intro sentences, this is just the way I chose to do it. All right. You can again think about what's the mood of the chapter as we get into the stories. You might use something like chapter 10 was very scary. Or there's one chapter where the entire chapter takes place on the first day of school. All right, all of the events that happen in this chapter were happening on the first day of school. So the big idea of the chapter was that it's the first day of school. This is the exposition. I'm expecting to meet the characters and the settings. So here in my intro, okay, this is my intro sentence. I write down, in chapter 1, we meet Harry Potter and the Dursleys. Again, exposition is about the characters, the setting, and the basic situations. And right now, everything revolves around Harry and the Dursleys. So this is my topic sentence, and I've underlined it blue. In my future examples, I've actually color-coded it blue so it stands out better. But I didn't think to do that on the first one. But you can see here, I've labeled it intro. You guys don't have to label yours, but I'm showing you. This is my intro sentence. In chapter 1, we meet Harry Potter and the Dursleys. Now, the next thing that I have to get into is what are the details of the chapter. And again, I'm going to go right to my notes. I'm going to think about my notes. What was the most important stuff? Because I did Cornell notes, I'm going to refer back strongly to this. But then also, if I'm in class, I can rely on my friends in the discussion because we're going to be able to sit down and talk about, I thought this was important and this we should include. We can leave this part out because we don't need this part, and we can have a conversation about what goes in, and we can all write exactly the same thing, or we can write similar things, but we're all working together to come up with our intro, our details, and our reflection. The students who are at home working independently with the videos, you're not going to have that kind of support from your peers or from the teachers who are going to be in each room and also going to be virtually able to support you. So once I have my intro, I know the next thing I need, though, are my details. So I'm getting into the details of the chapter, and this is what I wrote. I make sure I include the setting. I make sure I include the basic situation, all right, of what's happening in the chapter. And this is what I wrote. It's summertime after Harry's first year of wizard school, and he lives with his Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, and Cousin Dudley, because his parents are dead. Now, in that one sentence, I have set up so much background of what you need to know. We know here he goes to a wizard school. We know the setting, that it's summertime and it's after his first year of wizard school. We know that he lives with his aunt and uncle, and why? Because his parents are dead. This one sentence covers so much information. And you'll notice, again, I didn't write it down in a bunch of short, choppy sentences. I've incorporated this all in one detailed sentence. So, to go over it again, it's summertime after Harry's first year of wizard school, and he lives with his Aunt Petunia, Uncle Vernon, and Cousin Dudley, because his parents are dead. All right, I'm giving you reasons. Also, please note that, again, names are capitalized. All words that don't need capitals don't get capitals. It's only proper nouns and the first words of our sentence. And also, please notice, guys, I'm starting to write where the margin line is over here, and I'm stopping, technically, where the margin line is over here. It's hard to see, but it's actually through the back. You see it through the other page, and you can lightly see it. All right, so I'm leaving myself some margins on the side. I am writing neatly on the lines from left to right, and we are always indenting the first line of a paragraph. This is a paragraph, and that is why I have indented this first line. And every other line is lined up right along the left-hand side. Okay? And along the right-hand side, if I don't have enough room to fit the next word, I don't. I put it down on the next line. Continuing with my details. And again, we want to include character setting, basic situations that's going on. So what's happening? It's Harry's 12th birthday. And the Dursleys are having a dinner party. But Harry has to stay alone in his bedroom, pretending he doesn't exist. That's just 2 sentences. 2 long, detailed sentences. My last detailed sentence says, when Harry goes into his room, someone is already there. Now you'll notice there are lots of parts that I didn't include. I didn't include about the chores, okay? I want to get the characters, the situations, the setting, and really be able to clearly set up where is our hero and what's going on in our story at the beginning. And I'm able to do that right here in those first 4 or 5 sentences. And now this last sentence that you see here, this is where you get to have your reflection. You share your own thoughts and or opinions on something that's happening in the chapter, what you think is most important. I focused on the basic situations of Harry having to live with these awful people, the Dursleys. And I put in my opinion about that, and you can see this is how I ended it. I feel bad for Harry that he has to live with people who do not love him. All right, and that's my thoughts, my opinions. After I look at who Harry is right off of his first year of wizarding school. He lives with his aunt and his uncle and his cousin. We know that they hate magic. It's his 12th birthday, and he's not even at the celebration. They're not even celebrating his birthday. He has to spend it alone. My heart just goes out to him, and I feel really bad for Harry at the start of this book. So now, guys, every single person, whether you're doing this in class or whether you're doing it virtually, you need to take a picture of your notebook page, and I need to be able to see your date, your title, and your page number, and a full summary. Remember, this was a practice, so as long as you do your practice, all right, and we're looking to get better every single time, but this is what it should look like. It should not be one sentence. This summary here is a good 5-6 sentences, and it's a short one because it's the first chapter. Not a lot happens. We meet the characters, we get introduced to the setting, and we got the basic situations. That's all that I'm expecting in the first chapter. I'm not expecting to get into a whole ton of action yet. But as we get going through the story, something that you will notice is we always want to make sure we're focusing on summarizing and not retelling. But some of these chapters get really long. And so here's my summary for chapter 2. And by the end, some of my summaries, some of them, take up almost the whole page. And here you can see the summary for chapter 16. Here we're into the climax of the story, and there's just a lot going on. And so my summary is a lot longer. And I'm not retelling all of the events. I'm really just summarizing a large chapter. And so it just requires a lot of details. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, make sure that under the Classworks tab, okay, there's the quiz. The summary is right there. You can see it says notebook page 44. You will click on it. There's no picture for you to reference. All right, there is no picture for you to reference because each summary is going to be your own. Okay, and it says it here, the directions. In your notebook, on the page right next to your chapter notes, you will write a summary of the chapter. You will use your notes as you work with other people in your house to write your summary. Now again, house, I'm talking about your Gryffindor house, not your actual house. But can you get support from mom or dad or older brother or sister? Sure. Your summaries should include the main idea, the most important details from the chapter, and your reflection. Each person must write a complete summary and upload a picture of their work. A clear picture with neat writing. To see examples of 6th grade expectations, you must watch the video lessons or join the live streams. If you do not do one of those, it will be challenging to understand expectations and directions. So I reiterate that you need to watch the video lesson to do your best on these summary challenges or join us for the live class. Again, I know class was long, but it's to be expected now that we're doing double blocks of language arts. I'm looking at the timer on the video right now. It's about 52 minutes, so that seems about appropriate. You're going to notice with these double blocks of language arts, our videos are usually about 20-25 minutes, so and that's without reading a book. And so now you guys are going to start to notice that those videos are probably going to be a bit longer. So you guys, I thank you for sticking with me. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys back here on Thursday. And on Thursday, we will begin reading Chapter 2. And then on Friday, we will once again write all about Chapter 2. So until then, you guys have a great afternoon, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.